Disclaimer. The following video recounts a personal near-death experience and the insights gained during that event. The story shared reflects the individual's personal beliefs, interpretations, and spiritual journey. While it may resonate with some viewers, it is not intended to promote any particular ideology or replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. Viewer discretion is advised, and we encourage respectful dialogue and open-mindedness as you engage with this content.
What I'm about to share with you will challenge everything you think you know about life, death, and what lies beyond. Picture this: a cheerful 13-year-old girl declared dead, not once, not twice, but 3 times in a single day. Yet here's the miracle. She came back, and she didn't return empty-handed. She brought back a message so powerful, so earth-shattering, that it could only have come from one source: Jesus himself. This is the extraordinary story of Sarah Mitchell, a regular teenager from small-town Minnesota who stepped into the light of heaven and returned to tell us about it. If you've ever wondered what happens when we close our eyes for the final time, or if you've lost someone and desperately hoped there's more to existence than just this life, Sarah's story might just give you the answers you've been searching for. But I have to warn you, once you hear this story, you'll never look at life the same way again. It was a crisp October morning in 2019 in the quiet town of Pine Valley, Minnesota. The kind of morning where frost sparkles on fallen leaves and your breath makes little clouds in the air. For the Mitchell family, it started like any other Sunday. Sarah, their bright-eyed 13-year-old, sat in the back seat of their silver Honda Civic, her long brown hair tucked under a warm beanie, reading her favorite book. Her mom, Rachel, was driving, while her dad, Mark, fiddled with the radio, trying to find their favorite Sunday morning gospel station. They had just left Pine Valley Community Church, where Sarah had stolen the show during youth choir practice with her powerful voice. "Mum," she had said, just moments before, "I think I finally hit that high note in Amazing Grace perfectly." Rachel smiled at her daughter's enthusiasm in the rearview mirror, remembering how Sarah had practiced that note for weeks. But life has a way of changing in the blink of an eye. It happened at the intersection of Maple and Pine, a crossing that the locals had long complained was dangerous due to its blind spots. The Mitchell family never saw the logging truck that ran the red light. In a horrifying instant, their car was thrown across the intersection like a toy, the sound of screeching tires and crushing metal shattering the peaceful Sunday morning. The first responders would later say it was one of the worst accidents they'd ever seen. Mark Mitchell died instantly. Rachel was critically injured, trapped in the mangled driver's seat. And Sarah, sweet, vibrant Sarah, was found unconscious, barely breathing, her beloved book still clutched in her hands. "We're losing her." The paramedics' voices echoed through the chaos as they rushed Sarah's lifeless body into the ambulance. Her heart had stopped, the first time she would be declared dead that day. They managed to bring her back, but everyone knew they were in a race against time. At Pine Valley Memorial Hospital, Dr. Jessica Chen, the lead trauma surgeon, took one look at Sarah's condition and felt her heart sink. "Get the operating room ready now," she barked, knowing that every second counted. But as they rushed Sarah through the sterile corridors, her heart stopped again. For the second time, she was declared dead. The medical team worked frantically, their movements a desperate dance between hope and despair. They brought her back again, but Dr. Chen knew they were walking on a knife's edge. "Her brain has been without oxygen for too long," she warned the team. "Even if she survives, she might never be the same." In the waiting room, Rachel Mitchell lay in a hospital bed, her own injuries severe but stable. When they told her about Mark, her anguished screams echoed through the halls. But it was the news about Sarah that truly broke her. "Please," she begged through her tears, "please don't take my baby too. Lord, if you're listening, please. Not my Sarah." As if in cruel response to her mother's prayers, Sarah's heart stopped for the 3rd time during surgery. The medical team worked tirelessly, but after several minutes, Dr. Chen was ready to call it. Time of death, she began, but then something extraordinary happened. Sarah's heart started beating again, on its own, without any intervention. But what happened during those moments when Sarah's heart had stopped? Where did her spirit go while her body lay lifeless on that operating table? The answer would shake the foundations of faith and science alike. It was beautiful, Sarah would later say, her voice soft but filled with wonder. More beautiful than anything I've ever seen on Earth. She described stepping into a place where the very air seemed to shimmer with golden light, where colors existed that she had never seen before. Colors that don't even have names in our world. The first thing I noticed was the music, she recalled. It wasn't like regular music. It was like every beautiful sound in the universe was playing at once, but instead of being overwhelming, it was perfect, like a million angels singing in harmony. She found herself walking on what seemed to be streets of pure gold, but they weren't cold or hard like metal. They seemed alive somehow, pulsing with their own inner light. The air was filled with a peace so profound that Sarah said it made everything she'd ever experienced on Earth feel shallow in comparison. But it was who she met there that would change everything. First came the children, 2 of them, a boy and a girl, who ran to her with open arms. They hugged her as if they'd known her all their lives. "We've been waiting for you, big sister," they said. Sarah was confused. She was an only child, or so she thought. It wasn't until much later, after she'd told her mother about these children, that Rachel broke down and revealed the truth. She had lost 2 babies to miscarriage before Sarah was born. She and Mark had never told anyone, carrying that secret sorrow in their hearts for years. How could Sarah have known about siblings she'd never met, never even been told about? But the most profound moment was yet to come. He was standing there, waiting for me, Sarah said, her eyes filling with tears every time she told this part of the story. Jesus. And the moment I saw him, I knew who he was. It wasn't like meeting a stranger. It was like finally finding someone I'd known and loved my whole life, but had somehow forgotten about. Jesus didn't speak with words, Sarah explained. Instead, his thoughts seemed to flow directly into her mind, filled with a love so intense, it made her earthly understanding of the word seem pale in comparison. He showed her things, visions of her future, of the lives she would touch, of the hope she would bring to others. He told me it wasn't my time yet, Sarah said. He said I had a mission, that people needed to hear my story, that in a world where so many people are losing hope, they need to know that heaven is real, that God's love is real, and that death isn't the end, it's just the beginning. But there was one more meeting that would break and heal Sarah's heart at the same time. Dad was there, she whispered, tears rolling down her cheeks. He looked so happy, so peaceful. He hugged me and told me to take care of Mum, to tell her that he's okay and that he'll be waiting for her. But he said I had to go back now, that it wasn't my time to stay. When Sarah opened her eyes in the hospital room 3 weeks later, the medical staff was stunned. Not only had she survived against all odds, but she showed no signs of the brain damage they had feared. Her mind was clear, her memories intact, and she had an extraordinary story to tell. Dr. Chen couldn't explain it. By all medical understanding, Sarah shouldn't be alive, she admitted, and even if she had survived, the oxygen deprivation to her brain should have left her with severe disabilities. Instead, she's completely fine. More than fine, she seems different somehow, like she's carrying a light inside her. The changes in Sarah were subtle, but profound. The cheerful, somewhat shy teenager had been replaced by someone with an otherworldly wisdom in her eyes. She spoke with a quiet confidence about what she had experienced, never wavering in her story, never doubting what she had seen. But it wasn't easy. Living with such an extraordinary experience came with its own challenges. Some people didn't believe her. Others thought she was seeking attention. A few even suggested she was traumatized and making up stories to cope with her father's death. Sarah didn't let the skeptics bother her. "They haven't seen what I've seen," she would say with a gentle smile. "They haven't felt what I've felt. And that's okay. My job isn't to convince everyone. It's just to share what happened to me and let God do the rest." Rachel watched her daughter with a mixture of awe and gratitude. The loss of Mark had left a hole in their lives that would never fully heal. But Sarah's experience had given them both a new perspective on death and what lies beyond. "Sometimes," Rachel said, "I catch her looking at something in the distance, smiling at something I can't see, and I wonder if she's remembering heaven." Sarah's story began to spread beyond Pine Valley. Local churches invited her to speak, then churches in neighboring towns, then across the state. People were drawn to the sincerity in her voice, the light in her eyes when she spoke about her experience. She had a way of describing heaven that made it feel real and tangible, not just some far-off, abstract concept, but it was her message about God's love that touched people the most deeply. "It's bigger than anything we can imagine," she would tell her audiences. "It's like trying to describe the ocean to someone who's only seen a glass of water. Our human minds just can't contain how vast and beautiful it is." She spoke about meeting Jesus with such joy and reverence that even hardened skeptics found themselves moved. "He knows everything about us, every mistake, every flaw, every bad decision we've ever made," she would say. "And he loves us anyway, not in spite of our imperfections, but including them. Because to him, we're not our mistakes, we're his children." The impact of her testimony was profound. People who had lost loved ones found comfort in her descriptions of heaven. Those struggling with their faith found new hope. Even some atheists and agnostics admitted that her story made them question their certainties about life and death. One particularly touching moment came when she spoke at a children's hospital. A young boy with terminal cancer asked her if she was scared when she died. Sarah took his hand and smiled. "The only scary part was coming back," she told him. "Heaven itself is like the most wonderful dream you've ever had, except you're wide awake and everything is more real than anything on earth." The boy's mother later said that her son's fear of death disappeared after that conversation. He faced his final days with a peace that amazed everyone around him. But Sarah's journey wasn't just about sharing her experience, it was about living it. The glimpse of heaven's perfect love had changed how she saw everything and everyone around her. She started volunteering at homeless shelters, visiting nursing homes, and helping other young people dealing with grief and loss. "When you've experienced the kind of love I felt in heaven," she explained, "you want to share it with everyone you meet, not just by talking about it, but by showing it in how you treat people." She organized support groups for children who had lost parents, drawing on her own experience of losing her father. She spoke at schools about hope and resilience, connecting with students through her authenticity and understanding. Her age made her relatable to young people, while her wisdom touched adults. Rachel watched her daughter's transformation with pride and amazement. "Sometimes I look at her and can hardly believe she's the same person," she said. "She still has her moments of being a regular teenager. She still rolls her eyes when I tell her to clean her room or do her homework. But there's something else there now, something deep and profound that comes out when she talks about her experience." The medical community remained fascinated by Sarah's case. Dr. Chen collaborated with researchers studying near-death experiences, documenting every detail of Sarah's medical journey. "While we can't scientifically prove what she experienced," Dr. Chen noted, "we also can't explain her survival and complete recovery through current medical understanding." 5 years have passed since that fateful Sunday morning. Sarah is now 18, preparing for college while continuing to share her story. She's written a book about her experience, with proceeds going to help families who have lost loved ones in accidents. She's spoken to thousands of people, appeared on national television, and inspired countless others to re-examine their beliefs about life, death, and what lies beyond. But perhaps the most remarkable thing about Sarah isn't her extraordinary experience. It's how ordinary she remains in many ways. She still loves to sing in the church choir, though now she says the music reminds her of heaven's harmony. She still reads voraciously, though she says no earthly story can compare to the glory she witnessed. She still struggles with normal teenage challenges, but she faces them with a perspective few others her age possess. Heaven changed how I see everything, she reflects, even the hard stuff, because now I know that this life isn't all there is. It's just the beginning of our story. Rachel has found her own healing through Sarah's experience. While she still misses Mark deeply, she finds comfort in knowing he's in a place more beautiful than she can imagine. Sarah's description of seeing him there, of how happy and at peace he was, it helps me get through the difficult days, she says. Sarah continues to receive letters and messages from people around the world who have been touched by her story. Many share their own experiences with loss and grief, finding hope in her account of what lies beyond death. Others tell her how her testimony has renewed their faith or given them the courage to face their own mortality. But Sarah's most powerful message isn't just about what happens after we die. It's about how we should live. Heaven showed me that every moment here matters, she says. Every kindness, every smile, every choice to love instead of hate. It all ripples out into eternity. We're not just living for this world, we're preparing for the next one. She often ends her talks with a challenge to her audience. If you could see how much God loves you, how precious you are to Him, you'd never doubt your worth again. You'd never wonder if your life has meaning. Because I've seen it, I've felt it, and I know that every single person is infinitely valuable in His eyes. Sarah Mitchell's journey from a regular teenager to a messenger of hope continues to inspire people across the globe. Her story reminds us that sometimes the most powerful messages come through the most unexpected messengers, and that even in our darkest moments, light can break through in miraculous ways. As she looks toward her future, Sarah remains committed to her mission. Jesus sent me back for a reason, she says, with quiet conviction. And as long as I'm here, I'll keep sharing what I saw, what I felt, and what I know to be true. That heaven is real, that God's love is beyond anything we can imagine, and that death is not the end. It's just the doorway to something more beautiful than we could ever dream. Her story stands as a testament to hope, a bridge between heaven and earth, and a reminder that sometimes the most incredible truths come through the simplest vessels. In a world often darkened by doubt and fear, Sarah Mitchell's testimony shines as a beacon of light, pointing to a reality beyond our everyday experience, a reality where love never ends and death is not the final word. God bless you all, she often says at the end of her talks, her eyes shining with the reflection of a glory she once witnessed. And remember, heaven is closer than you think.
Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, inspired you, or gave you a deeper sense of hope, consider subscribing to this channel. By doing so, you'll join a community of faith, encouragement, and shared stories. Remember, God sees your steps of faith, and as you seek Him, His blessings and guidance will abound in your life. Hit the subscribe button, like this video, and share it with others who need to hear this message. Together, let's spread His light and love to the world. God bless you.